Hello everybody, my name is Dee and welcome to Books and Quirks. Today is Friday and I am here to do a Friday Reads. I didn't know if I'd be able to do this today. I am flying out again in a couple of days, but I do want to quickly do a Friday Reads and tell you what I've read this week and what I will be reading, and then I can't wait to see what you all are doing as well. So first of all, it's super cloudy out. I did put an extra light on, so hopefully I'm not too much in shadows today, and it is bright. It seems bright in here, but I can never know what it's like on camera until I watch it back later, so we'll have to see. But I did finish 2 of the 3 books that I set out to read this week. So the first book that I finished was Only Forward by, I don't know why I can never remember this author's name, Michael Marshall Smith. Oh boy, this was really good. I rated it 4 stars, and I don't even know how to explain it. It is a mind trip. I'll just say that. It is just every single... This was a little bit of a slower read, but not in a bad way. There's just so much going on in each sentence, in each paragraph, that you really need to pay attention. So this is a world, and I did explain it a little bit correctly last week before I started it. I understood it correctly, or at least from what I read on the back. So this is about a world where there are different neighborhoods. Each neighborhood has their own sense of reality, their own rules. Some are fantastical rules, some are just very strange. Like there is the color neighborhood where everything is based on colors. Like you'll know the time by the color of the wall or the street. There is sound neighborhood where there is no sound allowed. Like they're only allowed sound for like 1 hour a day or something like that. And then there is stable neighborhood. Stable neighborhood, nobody ever goes in or out. They're completely isolated from every other neighborhood, and the people in there in stable neighborhood think that it was like the apocalypse outside and like the world is ending. Like they don't even have, like when they look out the windows out of stable neighborhood, it's like a fake screen. Like they see desolation, and it's just so weird. And I mean, there are so many others. There's a cat neighborhood where just the cats all live. Um, I mean, there are really dangerous ones. There are ones that kind of defy reality where like the walls and the buildings and the streets have like minds of their own, and they can move around and do whatever they want. Um, and there is this kind of main neighborhood that's called the city. And we have a main character. The main character's name is Stark. And Stark is he's kind of like a private investigator, but that's not his title. He is called, he does what needs doing. He is a fixer. He can find people. He can do whatever needs to be done. And he's called into the office one day and says that this auctioneer has gone missing. We don't know what neighborhood he was in. He was probably kidnapped. You need to find him. So now Stark is going around trying to, even into the seedier neighborhoods, maybe even needing to go into stable. He doesn't know how he will get in stable because nobody goes in or out. And it's just crazy. This is probably making no sense at all. But if you like fantasy, if you like even science fiction, I think I would recommend this to those of you that do. It's definitely a mind trip, and I don't know, it was blowing my mind the entire time I was reading it. So I thought it was a really fun book. And I won't give any more information because I don't want to spoil anything. The next book that I finished was Tyrants Thrown by Sebastian D. Castell. This is the 4th and I think final book in the Greatcoat series. The reason I say I think is because there is information that there may be another book, but it's going to be kind of like a spin-off, kind of like set at some point in the future from where this book left off. I really loved it. I buddy read this with a bunch of people. I will put them all down below. Candace of Beacon Hill Books, Cheryl of CR Flim's Fan, Shauna of On the Stoop, Amber of Amber Eats Books. And, you know, I had read two of the other books with Amber as well. And the other people I've mentioned before as well. I do a lot of buddy reads with them, with each of them. And it was really a lot of fun. I love these books so much. This is kind of, I've explained this before, but this is kind of like a play on the Three Musketeers a little bit. It is about three men, Falcio, Kest, and Brasti, and they're kind of on a mission to fulfill the late king's wishes and to restore the kingdom, which is called Tristia, to its glory, I guess. I don't know. They're set with, on the first book, you know, they're set with putting the king's daughter on the throne, protecting her along the way. She's a very young girl. I think in the first book she's like 13 or 12 or something like that. But I really loved these books. These books are so funny. They're pure fantasy, a play on the Three Musketeers, and my favorite part of all of these books is the chemistry between the three guys. They have some one-liners that are just hysterical, and there's constant banter. There's a lot of, these books are very dialogue heavy, so there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of banter, and it's just, I really personally love that. So I think if you like fantasy, if you like, you know, just know that it's very dialogue heavy, and there is constant action from beginning to end. And even with the dialogue mixed in, you know, you're kind of thrown in at the first scene of the very first book, and it doesn't end till the end. And I thought it wrapped up well. I mean, it didn't blow me away, but it was definitely another 4-star read, and I definitely enjoyed this series. So the third book that I had mentioned last week, I did start, but I didn't finish it yet. I'm only about a little more than a third of the way through, not quite halfway yet. And that is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is about a woman who has had some trauma happen to her, and she, as part of her work, she goes on this luxury cruise on this big yacht. This yacht has 10 cabins. It's very luxurious. Each cabin is humongous. It's a huge suite. And shortly after arriving on this cruise, which is seemingly just kind of a dream come true in terms of luxury and pampering, she thinks she sees someone thrown overboard. And the whole book is trying to determine what she saw and whether she actually saw something, or is she suffering from like post-traumatic stress disorder based on her previous experience. People are kind of downplaying and not really believing her because nobody is missing on the boat. None of the staff are missing, and none of the passengers are missing. Now, she did see a woman in the cabin next door to her. She's in cabin 9. On the first night, she met a woman in cabin 10. After she thinks she sees someone thrown overboard, they tell her that cabin has been empty the entire trip, that the person that was supposed to take that cabin wasn't able to make it, and nobody knows of this woman that she saw, and nobody's missing. So yeah, it's really interesting. I'm not yet halfway through, a few more pages and I'll be halfway through, and I just really am hoping for a real bang with this book. I'm enjoying it so far, I really am. I'm excited to see what happens at the end. I've heard mixed reviews on this book. Some people really love it, some people really don't. So I'll see where I fall once I finish this book. The next book that I want to get into this week, I will be going away for a few days, so I'm only going to, so I only picked one more book to read this weekend and this coming week. and that is the Physique book of Deliverance, Dane. This is by Catherine Howe, and this is her adult novel. And this was her debut novel, I believe. This is a witch story, essentially. The main character is in her 20s, and she really finds out that she is very connected to the women and what happened during the Salem witch trials. And I read this book like 7 years ago, so this is like a reread. 7 or 8 years ago, I think it was. I really loved it. I loved this book so much, and I cannot wait to give it a reread because a lot of it is becoming very fuzzy in my head. So on the back it says, Salem, Massachusetts, 1681, fear and suspicion lead a small town to unspeakable acts. Then Marblehead, Massachusetts, 1991, a young woman is about to discover that she is tied to Salem in ways she never imagined. This was an excellent read, and I highly recommend it, but I can't wait to reread it. And Catherine Howe also wrote a YA book around witches that I read a couple years ago. I really didn't enjoy that, so if you didn't enjoy her YA novel, I definitely would still give this one a try because this is an adult novel, and it's really well written in my opinion, and very readable, and very, it keeps you on your toes from start to finish, so I can't wait to reread it. And I think those two for now are perfect for October. I have plans to read all kinds of witchy, scary, thriller type reads in October. And yeah. So I hope you're all having a good day. I hope you all have a good Friday, good weekend ahead of you, whatever you're doing. And I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.